Okay, so I'm sorry this is late, but I've had all sorts of issues, tech issues, so hopefully it won't be too late for you to get these notes done. So we're starting chapter 5. Hold on just a minute. Yeah. Okay, I'm back. I had the wrong note sheet. This is all about slope, equations of lines, all that kind of stuff, and different ways of writing an equation of a line. The first one we're going to do is slope-intercept form. But just as a reminder, and we did this before, take a minute, pause, try and remember how to find slope when you have 2 points. If you tried it, hopefully this is what you got. Remember, slope is the change in y over the change in x. So you subtract the y's and divide it by subtracting the x's. And you'd get positive 1/2. Common mistake is to put the x's on top. Be careful with that. Because remember, it's rise over run, and rise is the change in y. All right, so we're going to look at y equals mx plus b. It's called slope-intercept because you can recognize the slope and the intercept very easily with this equation. It's always going to have the m and the b in there as numbers, and the y and the x will still be there. So this is the slope. This is the y-intercept, where the line crosses the y-axis. Okay, and then the x and the y, this and this, is just a point on the line. Any point on the line. Because remember, a line is made up of a whole bunch of points on the graph. Okay? So this is going to be the main thing that you're going to be working with today. That information right there. So the first thing you have to do here is write an equation of a line with the slope, I wrote it twice, of 4 and a y-intercept of -3. So just write down this equation, and anytime you have to write an equation of a line, you need m and b. So I'm just going to write m equals b equals. It tells me right here that the slope is 4 and the y-intercept of the b is -3. I have what I need then to write the equation. I just substitute in the slope and the y-intercept, and I'm done. And yes, you can write that as 4x minus 3 if you want to. All right, second thing you're going to do is you're going to look at the graphs, and you're going to write the equation of the line from the graphs. So if here's your line, and you notice that here is where it crosses the y-axis. That's the b, the y-intercept. And that point is 0, -2. So your b is -2. That's your b. Okay? Remember, we have to find m and b. That's what we're looking for here. Okay, so I have the b. It's -2. The slope I can get from the graph, but I have to definitely look for a point that really crosses an intersection on the grid. This one doesn't really, it's a little bit off. This one's off, but this one crosses the at one of the intersections on the grid. So from this point, I have a rise of 5 and a run of 2. So that means that my slope is rise over run, which is 5 over 2. Okay, so in each of these equations, remember we got y equals mx plus b, m and b. We're looking for a slope of 5/2. It's not this one, it's not this one, it's not this one. Oh, it's got to be that one. The slope is always next to the x, and the y-intercept is -2. So boom, that is my answer right there. Okay? All right, next thing is to write an equation of a line that passes through 0, 2, and 4, -1. What I want you to start noticing right away is that that 2 right there, this point right here, is on the y-axis because x is 0, which therefore makes it my b. But let's just plot this point. Over 0, down 2. Oh, excuse me. Oh, it's over 0, up 2. 0, 2. And then over 4, down 1. 4, -1, and I connect them. Now recognize that this is a nice negative, so slope's going to go down. Okay, so your m is going to be negative. Now to write the equation, I need m and I need b. Well, I can tell from my graph right here that my b is 2. I can also tell from looking at this point when x is 0, that means this is my y-intercept, which is 2. Okay, When I have the graph, I can get my slope by simply counting rise over run. This rise is going down 3, so my rise is -3, and my run is 1, 2, 3, 4. So rise over run, my slope is -3 over 4. Okay, using slope-intercept, I can now write the equation of my line. I'm going to substitute the m and the b in. -3/4 x plus 2. Boom. That is the equation of this line. Okay. So another thing that you're going to have to do is you're going to have to write an equation from 2 points. This looks a lot more complicated than that. It says write an equation for the linear function f with these values. Oh, but remember we did the function fish. And we talked about function notation. This says f of 0 equals 3. What this tells me is that 0 went into my function, and that's my x-coordinate. And when 0 went in, 3 came out. That's my y-coordinate. So I can just write this as an ordered pair, 0, 3. Same with this. F of -4 equals 11. -4 went in, 11 came out. Well, look at that. I have 2 points. Just like up here, this point is 0, 3. That means this point is on the y-axis, and this is my b. Now remember, to write an equation of a line, you need m and you need b in slope-intercept form. My b is 3. I know that already. I have to find my m, and I have 2 points, so I can just do change in y over change in x. M equals 3 minus 11 and 0 minus a -4. So that -8, this becomes a plus, so my slope equals -2. So therefore, I can write my equation. Y equals mx plus b. I'm going to substitute -2x plus 3. There's my equation right there. All right, this is the same way. -3 went in, 6 came out. Oh, 0 went in, 5 came out. Notice x is 0 here. So this is my b. I need m and I need b to write the equation. B I know is 5. So I'm going to do change in y over change in x, and that is my slope, -1/3. Okay, so I can write my equation. Y equals -1/3 x plus 5. All right, let's turn this over and do the back side. So most of this should be pretty familiar to you. Okay, write an equation of a line. Again, I got to write an equation of the line. I'm using slope-intercept form here. That passes through the point 6, 3. Oh, remember, point has x, y, and has a slope of 2. And there's my slope. So when I write an equation of a line, I need m and I need b. And they gave me the m. It's 2. So now I got to figure out what b is. So I gave some steps here. When you're given a point and the slope, the first thing you do is plug in the slope and the point into y equals mx plus b. My y here is 3. My slope is 2. My x is 6. Oh, and would you look at that? All I have left is b, which I need. So now you have the algebra skills to figure out what b is. 2 times 6 is 12. Subtract 12, subtract 12, -9. B is -9. Now I have m and b. I can write the equation of the line by just substituting in my m and my b. Okay? So this is when you're given the slope and a point. Here it says, write an equation of a line that passes through these 2 points. Oh, I'm given 2 points. Now be careful. This is not the y-intercept because y is 0. That means this point is on the x-axis, and it's not really part of our equation. We have to use it to come up with our equation, though. So again, I'm going to do a different color here. I need m and I need b. Okay, I don't have either right now. But I can find the slope by doing change in y over change in x. M equals 0 minus a negative 4 over 3 minus 2. So that's 4 over 1. My slope is 4. So I'm going to put that right there. Okay, step 2 says plug the slope and one of the points into y equals mx plus b. I don't care, it doesn't matter what point I use. I'm going to use this point, which is x and y, and my slope. So y equals mx plus b. I'm going to plug in the point. Y is 0. My slope is 4. My x-coordinate is 3. Oh, and look at that. I can solve for b. 0 equals 12 plus b. Subtract 12, subtract 12. And b equals negative 12. Oh, okay. I have my slope and I have my b. I can write the equation of the line. Y equals 4x plus negative 12. All right. This is the same kind of thing here, except you're given a linear function, which means we're going to use function notation. So we're just going to use f of x instead of y. And I already talked about on the other side here, this just means that when negative 2 went into the function, 10 came out. So this is my ordered pair, negative 2, 10. When 4 went into the function, negative 2 came out. So that's my ordered pair right there. Okay. So it's the same steps as up here because I was given 2 points. I still need m and b. I don't have either of those. So the first thing I'm going to do is find the slope. So my slope, or m, is equal to the change in y over the change in x. 10 minus a negative 2 becomes a plus. That's 12. Negative 2 minus 4 is negative 6, and that's negative 2. So my slope is negative 2. Okay, then the next step said plug the slope and one of the points into y equals mx plus b. It doesn't matter which point you use, so I'm going to use this point. Remember, that's x and that's y. Okay, so I'm going to plug in. This was step 1, this is step 2. Y equals mx plus b. Plug in my y, which is 10. Plug in my slope, which is negative 2. Plug in my x-coordinate, which is negative 2, plus b. 10 equals 4 plus b. When I subtract 4 from both sides, I'm going to get b equals 6. So I'm going to come up here. All right, I have my m and my b. So now I'm going to write my equation. Y equals mx plus b. Y equals negative 2x plus 6. So these two are the same, except it says let's write the function. And here I just wrote the equation. So to write the function, you would actually replace y with f of x. And it's the same thing otherwise. So then I wrote it as a function. Okay, not any different. So this one is the same thing as this one. You have 2 points, and you just first find the slope, plug it into the equation with the point, find b, and then write your equation. This one here, I'm going to go over with you in class tomorrow. Alrighty? That's it.